Uh, I hope that you're receiving us loud and clear wherever you are. Whether you are here on our continent of Africa or further afield, I want to welcome you for this evening's training. I know that on a number of parts of our continent, there have been moments of unrest and disquiet. I would like to just let you know that we have you in mind, and we continue to pray that situations are going to stabilize so that we may be able to go about our affairs with safety as usual. Maybe some of you are joining us for the first time or the first few times. Let me introduce myself. My name is Betty Oloo, and you're glad to spend time with you on Thursday evening to share information about our products and how to position ourselves so as to be able to help those whom we come across, whether in terms of sharing product information, and also just ways of letting people know how they can deal with lifestyle-related illnesses, which are the ones we usually are asked about. So having done that, I'm sure that you saw that once again we are doing a Q&A session. And I would just like to appreciate the fact that we receive these questions from time to time. Maybe if you've been joining our training from a long while now, you may find some of them repetitive. But I do encourage you to ask any question you might have, because whatever is on your mind is what we are interested in sharing during training. So if you're an older distributor maybe and you find it repetitive, we'll just want to remind you that repetition is the mother of knowledge. And whereas you may already know the information, there may be a new person who will appreciate hearing some of these points. So going straight to the first question, which was left, I think one or two that were leftovers from the last Q&A. Someone wanted to know about what to recommend for constipation. So constipation can be a chronic condition, and it is important that we resolve it because otherwise it can progress into more serious problems like hemorrhoids. So on the lifestyle side, I would recommend including plenty of foods that are rich in soluble fiber. So it could be leafy vegetables, or many different types of fruits, legumes, and so on. These have got a mixture of fibers, and these fibers help to loosen the stool and make it more mobile, and also help to condition the intestinal muscles themselves. If you've been having this problem of constipation for a while, I would recommend that you opt for cooked vegetables rather than raw ones, because some people find that raw vegetables can lead to gas and feelings of being bloated. On the side of legumes, there are also people who struggle with legumes. So in some cases, this can be helped by pre-soaking the beans, let us say, or peas or whatever it is, before cooking for a minimum of 4 hours in warm water. I do it for overnight. So this can help to dissipate some of the substances that cause gas and bloating when one eats legumes. There are people who don't find legumes pleasant to eat at all, but they have got some benefits. But if you find that legumes are not for you, then there are still fruits and vegetables that you can use, and this usually will help with the lifestyle side, the dietary side. Also ensure adequate hydration, because this will also help to loosen the stool so that it is not so hard. Then the New Life supplements will be very helpful. We have stage 6, which is a herbal preparation that helps in loosening the stool, as well as lubricating it so that it passes more easily. And then we also recommend fiber tablets to supplement your dietary fiber that you're going to be taking. And also aloe vera plus is a useful one for this. It's going to dissipate bloating, and also it's a tonic for your gut. So those 3 would be our recommendation for constipation. Of course, it does not mean that once the constipation has been resolved, you should stop eating the these things in your diet, I think it is important to continue taking them in, because the problem can recur if you fall back into the habit of not eating some of these useful foodstuffs. Then the next question, there were actually two, one about fibroids and another ovarian cysts. And my recommendation for both will be the same. One of the first things I would recommend with these types of conditions would be to check and resolve blood sugar problems. It could be prediabetes or it could be insulin resistance. So this can be checked, because when we have sugar issues, there are quite a number of illnesses that are linked to it. And some of these fibroids and unwanted growths are often a byproduct of sugar metabolism problems. So that is a recommendation to maybe see a doctor or go to a lab to have that checked. And then on the Neolife side, we recommend Cruciferous Plus, which helps the body to get rid of unwanted growths of different types, including these ones. We also recommend Herbal Feminine Complex, because one of the reasons could be a hormonal imbalance. So Herbal Feminine Complex will help them. Then we also recommend Beta Guard to help with detoxing in case there are certain toxins from the environment that could be upsetting the hormonal balance of the woman. If we find that there are some problems to do with blood sugar metabolism, then you would add botanical balance to help with this. So those would be the recommendation for those two, fibroids and ovarian cysts. And the same would probably go also for something like polycystic ovarian syndrome. So you can see that those might all be linked to blood sugar and sugar metabolism problems. Then I had another question, which is a little child who has sickle cell anemia with a lot of joint pain. This is a common symptom of sickle cell anemia in small children and toddlers. So here, what I recommend on the lifestyle side is the importance of good hydration. So the child should be given plenty of water and other fluids to make sure that they do not get dehydrated. And then if the person is living in colder climates, then it is important to stay warm in cold weather, or if you live in cold climates, to keep warm, because getting cold for the child with sickle cell can actually precipitate a crisis. If you're in a warm climate, then of course this maybe you can only be concerned about that during cold weather. Then on the Neolife side, we have products that we recommend. These do not cure sickle cell. What they do is help the body to cope with it better, because as we see in this question, it is a small child, which means they're also growing very rapidly. And so the supplements we recommend is to help to deal with the inflammation and also to give them the nutrients, to supplement the nutrients that they may get from their diet. People with sickle cell often have got a not very good appetite. So the supplements would actually have an important role to improve the richness of their nutrients. So we recommend Vita Squares. We recommend omega-3 salmon oil minis. Since it is a small child, I think that the smaller capsule would be more suitable and easier to swallow if they can. If they are not able to swallow, then probably pierce a hole into the capsule and squeeze the oil into the child's milk or whatever food that they are taking that can have the omega-3 contents added to. Then we also recommend Neolife Shake, especially during or after crisis, in order to help with the proteins, to amino acids, for them to repair the damage that is normally associated with a sickle cell crisis. And finally, we'll also recommend VitaGuard, which is going to help them to fight against infections, because another thing that can unleash a sickle cell crisis would be an infection. Of course, infections cannot totally be avoided. The best we can do is help the body to have what it needs to fight against the infection so as to recover and repair. So those are the recommendation. Remember, this is a small child, so we recommend Vita Squares, omega-3 salmon oil, Neolife Shake, and VitaGuard. Then there was a question about tooth decay. So here it's one of the cases, tooth decay, where prevention is better than cure, because if the tooth decay has progressed maybe to cavities and loss of teeth, then we are arriving too late. And so just to keep in mind that prevention in this case is much better. However, it is possible to reverse some of the tooth decay if it is caught in early stages. So some of the lifestyle points that I'd like to share is good oral hygiene, that is brushing your teeth twice a day. Also eliminating harmful foods such as sodas and other sweetened drinks, and also processed carbohydrates, sweets, and so on. These tend to stick on the teeth and they feed the harmful bacteria that are associated with tooth decay. So those are foods that should be eliminated to protect teeth. Then the next, I remember when our children were small and they would beg for sweets, I would tell them that I love their teeth more than the sweets, and they would get irritated, but these days they laugh about it. But this is because we need to protect our teeth. Our teeth are actually some of the strongest substance in our bodies, and it is unfortunate that some of the foods we have in our diet can actually destroy such a strong material. You have seen that when you get skeletons or skulls, usually the teeth are still intact, and that is how strong the teeth are. If you think of something that can actually cause teeth to decay, it means that it is really very harmful. If it can do that to teeth, imagine what it's doing to the rest of your system. So eliminate those foods as far as possible, and then ensure that your diet has got a good source of calcium, and then also support the oral microbiome. So that we always speak about the gut microbiome, but we also have an oral microbiome, friendly bacteria that live in our mouths and help to keep down the population of the harmful ones. So this can be done again by eliminating the sugary stuff that support the harmful microbes, and the healthier options that support the friendly microbes. Then the supplements that are going to help, as we recommend multimineral alfalfa, which is a wide spectrum of minerals that will help in remineralizing the teeth and combating the decay of the teeth. We also recommend vitamin C, which plays an important role in healing the gum. Remember, the gum and the teeth are close to each other, and harm to one can lead to harm to the other. So vitamin C, very good. One of the ways in which you know you are not getting enough vitamin C is when your gum bleeds. So that is an important supplement there. We also recommend vitamin A plus D, especially if you do not get adequate sun exposure or you live in a temperate climate. Then the next question was about cramps, uterine cramps. And this can be associated with having an infection in the uterus, and the infection could be various sources, including if there is a foreign item that is put in the uterus to act against contraception. Anytime we have to put a foreign material in our body, we are likely to have problems. Some people react more badly than others. And so my first recommendation there would be to see a doctor to check for infection and to get medication for that. Also, if there is a foreign item that has been inserted, to maybe discuss with the gynecologist what other options there are. Then Neolife is going to, from Neolife, I will recommend omega-3 salmon oil to deal with the inflammation, Calmag and multimineral, especially in case there is also heavy bleeding associated, and Beta-Guard to help with the healing of whatever is going on, and also to help with detox. So those are the recommendations. But remember, if the cramps are due to the presence of these contraceptive devices, then using the supplements and keeping the device might be kind of canceling each other out. And so just to consider what other options there are. Then another question was about chronic knee pain. And this is a very common problem and a question that we frequently come across. And this is because the knee joint is one that is fairly complicated. And if it is weighed down, let us say, for example, if we have put on a bit more weight than it is good for us, then the knee joint is going to be getting a high impact as we move around, and also it might be bearing more load than it is supposed to. So in the case where weight loss is needed, maybe that would be a consideration, just to ease the weight on the knee joint. In addition to that, low impact exercise, because one of the sources of knee problem can be high impact exercises, such as running and some of the high impact exercises that you find in aerobics classes and so on, can actually have a negative effect on the joints, particularly the ankles, the knees, and the hips. So rather opt for low impact, moderate exercises, which you do consistently, and incorporate regular other activities in your lifestyle, thereby making sure that you have got a healthy amount of movement without having high impact on the joint. Because for the joint to heal, you need also to address the question of the impact that your lifestyle is bringing to it. Then my next lifestyle recommendation would be to see a physiotherapist who can recommend exercises to strengthen the knees and keep the flexibility, because another thing that can happen is the joint can become progressively less flexible. So a visit to the physiotherapist may be beneficial. Then on New Life, we recommend full motion, which helps in healing the joint itself by restoring the cartilage over time. We also recommend omega-3 salmon oil and CalMag or multimineral for the purpose of healing the joint. But remember, as I've said, if you're taking the supplements and continuing with high impact activities, it once again may prolong or even worsen the problem. So opt for low impact exercises until the joint has healed, and even then to reconsider which exercises are good, are friendly to joints. Not all exercises and activities that we do are actually friendly to our joints. Something like walking is perfectly good because it does not place heavy impact. But if it is a matter of running, especially running on hard surfaces, it can be very hard on the joints. Okay, then the next question was about a chronic cough, and it seems to be associated with menopause. Again, I am always amazed at the different symptoms that menopause seems to unleash on us women as we reach this stage in life. But chronic cough can be one of them, and this is because the hormonal changes have all kinds of effects on the body. If you can imagine that the body for many years had been under one kind of hormonal balance, and then at this stage everything switches up, then it has got many different kinds of effects on different people. So dryness can be one of the effects. It can be dryness on the internal membrane. It can be dryness of the skin or the scalp. Acid reflux is another one that can make someone feel as if they always have a slimy feeling in the throat, which causes coughing and clearing the throat consistently. So here, maybe one can identify if there are other triggers. It could be food that is causing acid reflux. It could be maybe some allergens that one is exposed to that is irritating the air passages. And since they might already be dry, there can be that continuous cough that does not ease off. There are some medications that can help. Sun exposure is important, as well as also supplements from New Life. I just caution here that from my own experience, I haven't found that the herbal feminine complex works the same for everybody. So for some women, they'll find herbal feminine complex very useful in stabilizing the hormones during menopause. We also can recommend herbal respiratory complex to help with this coughing and the feeling of phlegm in the throat. We can recommend flavonoid complex, which helps with the same. Alternatively, if not flavonoid complex, then vitamin C can do the same, can also help. Then omega-3 salmon oil would also be useful. So then the next question was hemorrhoids, which cooked fiber-rich vegetables and also maintain good hydration, and the same supplements that we recommended for constipation, stage 6, fiber tablets, and aloe vera plus. Depending on how bad the hemorrhoids are, it may be necessary to get suppositories to, and in very bad cases, there may need to be surgery just to surgically remove the hemorrhoids. So it depends on the stage at which the hemorrhoids have reached. If it is an earlier stage, then the supplements and dietary choices can over time help problem. So stage 6, fiber tablets and aloe vera plus. I think one can also add chelated zinc to help with the healing process as the hemorrhoid is getting resolved by the body. Then the next question was eczema. So eczema is a skin inflammation that can be caused by the immune system, excuse me, overreacting to environmental allergens. So different people will get eczema in different parts of their body. So in eczema, you have itches, dry, scaly skin. It can be on elbows, it can be on the jawline, and different parts of the body. So the lifestyle recommendation is to avoid junk food, which remember that our external skin is continuous with our gut, which means that if a food disagrees with us, it will not only affect us on the inside, but can show the effects on the outside as well. So eczema can result from a food that is inflaming the gut and its effect being shown on the surface of the body as well. So identify and avoid triggers. You may find that specific things worsen the eczema or bring it on, and this should be avoided as far as possible. Then we recommend from Neolife vitamin A plus D. We recommend chelated zinc, flavonoid complex, and you can apply aloe vera gel on the affected part. If the eczema is on the face, using a mild cleanser like the nutrients gentle makeup remover can be a good option, because using a harsh cleanser is just going to worsen the irritation that is associated with the eczema. So those two would be to apply, use as a cleanser and to apply, and then to take internally vitamin A plus D, chelated zinc, and flavonoid complex. The next question was recurrent pneumonia. So I suppose in many places in parts of our continent, it's quite cool, even as our brothers in the northern hemisphere are enjoying the warm weather. Many of us will be having cool weather that is often associated with respiratory illnesses. And so there have been quite a number of questions about respiratory illnesses, of which recurrent pneumonia is one of them. So the first thing is to try and investigate the origin of the recurrence, whether it is pollution or it could be an underlying illness. It could be repeated exposure, maybe due to poor ventilation in the place where the person is, or it could even be an underlying illness like cystic fibrosis or a heart defect. All these can cause repeated infection. So just an investigation there might be helpful in case there's an underlying thing that can be rectified to avoid recurrence. Then a healthy diet to boost the immunity, because of course recurrent infections are normally associated with a weakened immune system as well. So just to make sure that the diet is supporting the immune system. And our supplements, of course, will do the same. We recommend flavonoid complex. We recommend herbal respiratory complex and omega-3 salmon oil to help with the recurrence, to break the cycle of recurrence. Then another one was recurrent tonsillitis. Again, this is an infection that can be repeated. And here we recommend vitamin C, recommend garlic allium complex and herbal respiratory complex, because the tonsils normally are the first responders when we get an infection in our throat. So if we are getting repeated respiratory infections, we can have recurrent tonsillitis. I am not a proponent of removing the tonsils because I know sometimes they end up getting removed, but the tonsils are actually a reservoir of our immune cells. So some immune cells actually reside in the tonsils and the adenoids. So the adenoids are higher up in the face while the tonsils are under the jaw. And so it's best to try to find ways to resolve the problem, but save the tonsils if it is at all possible. So vitamin C, garlic allium complex, and herbal respiratory complex are the recommendations there. Another question was about varicose veins. This one is a difficult one. And if the varicose veins have already become quite well developed, the only way they can be removed is by surgery, and that often is not quite as successful as all that. But what we recommend in the lifestyle is to avoid sedentary habits, and for some people, using compression stockings might be useful, especially if one starts in at the earlier part before the varicose veins becomes very much weakened and enlarged. So the supplements that can be used for this that can help, again, here, as I said, once it's developed, success is not too great. We recommend flavonoid complex, multimineral alfalfa, and omega-3 salmon oil. Then someone wanted to know what to use for wound healing. It was not clear what the cause of the wound was. One of the things that prevents wounds from healing well is, of course, type 2 diabetes and pre-diabetes and so on. So if we notice that we have wounds that don't heal well, that could be something to be checked for. And then, of course, another thing is to keep the wound clean to avoid infection. And you may need to see a medical practitioner, or if you're able to dress the wound yourself, if it's not a big thing. But the supplements that will help will be chelated zinc, vitamin C, and Neolife Shake. If the wound that is not healing is associated with diabetes or pre-diabetes, then we add botanical balance to that mix and threonine. Then I think with my last minutes, the next question was someone wanted to know about sinus problems. So again, this is in the respiratory infections line. So sinus problems can be because the sinuses are infected, or it could be because of an allergic thing that is being inhaled. So if the trigger can be found, then it's best avoided. And then in the lifestyle, we can also see a doctor to check for growths in the sinus, which could be what is causing the blockage. And once there's a blockage, it becomes an easy place for infections to grow. And then some people also can use saline nasal irrigation. So it's spraying or pouring salt water into the nostrils. For some people, that can actually help. Then on the supplement side, we recommend flavonoid complex, which is going to help with the healing of the inflammation in there, together with omega-3 salmon oil. So flavonoid complex, omega-3 salmon oil, and again, herbal respiratory complex, which is our herbal preparation for problems to do with the respiratory system. So I see that my time has drawn to an end. I want to thank you very much for having shared your questions. I hope that you have found the session useful to you and furthering your knowledge, thinking about ways to position our products so that we help as many people as come to us. As I said, we continue to pray for our continent and the difficulties that we are going through. But I would very much like to wish you the best as we go into the last section of the month of July. I hope that it has been possible for you to get some work done and that you are either having to reassess your goals or finding new ways to actually achieve them. Thank you very much and all the best in the days that are coming. And here is Pascal ready to take you through the business section of today's training.
Thank you very much, Betty. I think there are so many issues and questions about health and especially about health. So I think it's always an opportunity to learn new things about health and about our products. I want to, Betty mentioned something about repetition. I think one of the very important things about success is repetition. And if